Pack your bags, we're headed on a big old ride, with dreams of sunlit shores and the open skies, from the hills of Cyprus to where the world collides.
Ready to jet set to the land down under.
Let's do it.
All right. Today we're diving into Rob and Mandy's Melbourne escapade way back in 2006.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. All thanks to their blog, A New Life Planned in Cyprus. We're in for a treat. Think bustling cityscapes, those kind of secret spots you love to discover, and even, get this, an impromptu concert.
Sounds like a blast from the past. I'm curious to see what they were like before their big Cyprus move.
Right. It's like a sneak peek into their lives before the big leap. So picture this. Greeted by this energetic city, set against the backdrop of, you guessed it, the Yarra River.
Oh, I can almost picture it now.
I know. And their blog really brings it to life. It's like they stepped into a postcard, skyscrapers, kind of popping up against all this green, lush parkland.
That's so Melbourne, that contrast. It gives it that unique vibe, a mix of city sophistication, but with a touch of nature woven in.
Exactly. And they dove right into the thick of it. First up, a boat trip along the Yarra. What better way to get a feel for Melbourne?
Oh, the best way. You're just gliding along, catching those iconic landmarks, the MCG, those Royal Botanic Gardens. They even mention the boat rocking gently, the sun on their skin, talk about immersive.
I love that. It's like we're right there with them. And speaking of being there, where did this scenic cruise take them? To the charming and slightly coastal suburb of Williamstown.
Ah, Williamstown. They described it as a world away, yet still so close to the city. Quaint streets, seaside views, a much slower pace, like taking a step back in time.
You're making me want to book a flight right now. And of course, no trip to Melbourne is complete without a taste of their food scene. Rob and Mandy raved about this place called Speedy Nick's.
Sounds like a Melbourne staple. They mentioned the smell of coffee and bacon pulling them in, the place bustling with locals. Those little details really paint a picture.
Absolutely. And speaking of pictures, from the cozy cafes, they found themselves way up high at the Rialto Tower, soaking up panoramic views of Melbourne.
Talk about a change in perspective. They were especially mesmerized by the Yarra River, winding through the city like the silver ribbon.
It's amazing how they captured those grand cityscapes alongside these small, everyday moments.
Totally.
Like their visit to Flinders Street Station, that architectural gem with its iconic yellow facade.
Oh, they were totally charmed by it. Flinders Street Station, it's more than just a train station. It's a symbol of Melbourne.
And after a busy day of exploring, they stumbled upon the Waterside Hotel, drawn in by its cozy atmosphere and elegant decor.
It sounds like the perfect place to unwind.
Right. And it shows how they balanced exploration with these moments of quiet relaxation. But the adventure wasn't over yet. On day 3, they hopped on a Melbourne tram, those are an experience in themselves, and headed towards
the MCG. The Melbourne Cricket Ground, a true Aussie sporting icon.
And here's where things take a fun turn. They didn't just view it from afar, they went on a guided tour.
Oh, how cool. They got to go behind the scenes, walk through the players' dressing rooms, even learn about the stadium's history.
Talk about an immersive experience. I bet you could just feel the energy of all those legendary matches.
Totally. And their exploration of Melbourne's sporting scene didn't stop there. They even made time for the Melbourne Cricket Club Museum.
And just when you thought their day couldn't get any more jam-packed, they stumble upon a UB40 concert. What are the chances?
Talk about being in the right place at the right time. It's like a testament to their spontaneity.
Totally. And it makes you wonder, what other hidden gems did they find on their travels?
Right. But we'll have to hear about that concert experience in part 2 of our deep dive into Rob and Mandy's Melbourne adventure.
Picking up right where we left off, Rob and Mandy are about to experience a UB40 concert, completely unplanned. Makes you almost hear the music just picturing it.
Right. You can practically feel the energy in their writing.
Totally.
They said the atmosphere was electric. Everyone just caught up in the music, singing along. It obviously left a mark on them.
Oh, absolutely. One of those travel memories you just don't forget, especially after a day exploring iconic spots like the MCG.
Definitely. And, it underlines this theme we keep seeing in their blog. They had their plan, but they weren't afraid to, stray from it, to embrace those unexpected moments.
And did it ever pay off?
Yeah.
Makes you think, how often do we miss those chances because we're so busy sticking to the itinerary, right?
Exactly. A good lesson for us all, I'd say. Sometimes those unplanned experiences are the best ones, but we can't forget the final stop on their Melbourne adventure. Remember, they were actually heading to St Kilda Beach when that concert popped up.
Oh, that's right. Did they ever make it to St Kilda? Tell me they got to enjoy some sun and sand after that concert.
They did. Described it as the perfect way to unwind after such a full day. Picture this. Golden sand, the water sparkling, those waves crashing on the shore.
It's like a mini vacation just hearing you describe it. Did they mention anything specific that stood out to them about St. Kilda?
Well, they talked about the atmosphere really lively, a mix of locals and tourists, families having picnics, friends playing volleyball. Sounded like a buzzing place.
And remember how they were drawn to that energy in the heart of Melbourne? Seems like they found that same energy, but with a more laid-back, beachy vibe at St. Kilda.
Exactly. Different sides of Melbourne, both just as captivating. Goes back to that theme of contrast we talked about, the city's trademark.
It's like they got the best of both worlds, the culture and excitement of the city, and then that relaxed coastal vibe, all in just a few days.
And let's not forget, all of this was before their big move to Cyprus. Seeing that adventurous spirit in Melbourne adds a whole other layer to their story.
It's like their Melbourne trip was a little preview of their bigger life philosophy. Be open to new things, embrace the surprises, and really savor each moment.
Absolutely. And speaking of savoring the moment, their blog post ends on this reflective note, talking about how the trip just solidified this desire for a life less ordinary, for new adventures, a change of pace.
Which, of course, led them to Cyprus. It's one thing to dream about a different life, but actually taking the leap is a whole different ballgame.
And that's what's so inspiring about Rob and Mandy's story. They didn't just talk about their dreams, they chased them.
And in doing so, they've given us this glimpse into their lives, encouraging us to find our own adventures, however big or small they may be.
Absolutely. So as we're wrapping up this part of our deep dive into Rob and Mandy's Melbourne adventure, it makes you wonder.
What was it about that Melbourne trip that made them take the leap?
It makes you wonder, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it was that moment at the UB40 concert, just swept up in the energy, realizing life's too short to say no to those little surprises.
Or maybe it was being on St. Kilda Beach, that vast ocean in front of them, that sense of endless possibilities.
It could have been all those moments combined. Those city views blending with the coast, planned adventures mixing with the spontaneous ones.
Creating this tapestry of experiences that made them say, this is the life we want.
Exactly. And isn't that the magic of travel? It can really shift your perspective, make you rethink your priorities, maybe even awaken that desire for something more.
It's like that saying, travel is the only thing you buy that makes you richer.
So true. And for Rob and Mandy, it seems their Melbourne adventure gave them the courage to chase those dreams.
And luckily for us, they documented it all. They've given us this window into their world, inspiring us to embrace our own adventures.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Rob and Mandy's Melbourne escapade, here's a thought. What if you approached your next trip, big or small, with that same spirit of exploration, that openness to the unexpected? Who knows what you might discover, what stories you'll bring back, or what dreams you'll awaken along the way.
What a great note to end on. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring.
I do like flying where we never hide.
Out on the highway, chasing the tide.